Welcome to another episode of Keeping It Real, the largest podcast made by real estate agents and for real estate agents. My name is DJ Paris. I am your guide and host through the show. And today, once again, is our monthly series, Learn with a Lender with Joel Schaub from Guaranteed Rate. Now, Joel is the vice president of lending at Guaranteed Rate. He's been doing loans at a high level since 2003 and has got to that level because of what he does specifically for agents, which is that he gives back a part of his commission to the buyer on every transaction. Last year alone, Joel gave back over $300,000 in closing costs to buyers who worked with him. And that puts Joel's volume in the top 0.1% of all lenders nationwide. Out of 400,000 loan officers in the country, Joel is ranked number 137. Last year, he had completed over 535 closed transactions for $196 million. And year to date, today's the 14th of January, he's already closed 23 transactions for over $8 million. Now, if you are looking for a loan officer, we cannot more highly recommend Joel. He's the very best we've ever worked with. Joel can be reached at joel@rate.com. Or you can shoot him a text message or call him at 773-654-2049. Let's say hello to the biggest Cubs fan I know, Joel Schaub. Welcome, Joel.
Hey, DJ, thanks so much for having me. And all the numbers are great, and I appreciate all of that. But it's really good to give back, and I'm glad that I'm on the show again.
We're glad to have you. And every month you come and deliver a tremendous amount of value. So you give back as much as you get. And I know you're a big fan of that saying, but it is absolutely true in your case. So what would you like to talk about today?
I mean, I'm so glad that you said that. It really is about giver's gain. And as agents, the more that you can be out there touching people's lives and helping them and truly helping them, not just helping yourself by getting a commission, but helping them through their journey the way that you would want to be helped, you're going to get more transactions out of it. You really, truly do. And you see that all the time.
Absolutely.
This week, really what's coming up for us is talking about contingencies, a home sale contingency for a buyer, whether or not they need to sell a home first, and how we can have some kind of conversation here around making sure that buyers, if they have to sell a home or if they don't have to sell a home, are being educated by their mortgage professional.
This has got to be really common right now with obviously there's so much movement in real estate. There's low inventory, there's low rates. So you have buyers who are very motivated to maybe expand, or maybe they're, moving to a different part of maybe from the city out to the suburbs. We're seeing that a lot in Chicago. There's just a lot of movement. And it's really kind of a perfect storm of low rates for buyers and also low inventory. So sellers, everyone's sort of motivated to make transactions happen.
And buyers come to me all the time, and they just simply don't know what foot to put forward. They know they need to sell a home. They know they want to go out and buy a property, but 9 times out of 10, they think, I must sell the house first because all of the equity's in the home. Okay, that's
Right.
a lot of the time when we're talking with buyers. They might have some money for down payment, but in their mind, they think, well, I'll never be able to get to, and they think in their minds maybe 20% down, or maybe they think 10% down, but they think most of the money for my down payment would come only after I sell the house, and there's no way a bank's going to approve me to go out and get another loan until this property is sold.
Right.
I found the opposite very true recently with a lot of buyers that were told by another bank, you got to sell your house first. We can't approve you for the next property. And that kind of puts a halt to the entire process if you're a realtor, right?
It becomes like a real balancing act of trying to figure out, when do I list my home for sale? When do I start looking to buy a new home? How do I coordinate all of this and also get approved? This is a common thing for buyers.
I had dozens of clients last year in 2020 that really were under the impression that they must sell their home to buy the next one. Even half of those people had banks tell them, oh, we won't approve you until you actually have the property sold. And then I just did a little bit more work on the file, figured out a way where they could come up with a good amount for a down payment, but maybe not the 20 or 25% down that they used to need or what they thought they had to do. And the bank would still approve them to buy the next home. Then they could be very picky about who they picked to buy their property so that they're not forced into just taking any offer quickly. They could go buy the house of their dreams, list the property with an agent, and really get a good purchase price instead of being on this time crunch.
So do lenders look at the existing home that is needing to be sold and sort of take that into account when approving someone who still does have that asset and that responsibility to get approved for another purchase?
Correct. Exactly right. I'm glad that you brought that up. It's not so much do they have enough money to buy the next home, it's do they have enough income to support both payments for a couple of months.
Right.
Right. So a bank will say, if you have a property right now and you have $2,000 a month going out for principal, interest, taxes, and insurance, and the next place that you want to buy is a step up, and maybe that one is $2,500 a month for principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. It's a simple math equation, and it comes back down to that old phrase, what is your debt to income ratio? And are you approved to carry both mortgages? Okay. And more importantly, are you comfortable enough to carry both mortgages if it is a month or two where your listing agent is staging, prepping, and getting it on the market? At the same time, you've gone under contract and you're going to close on the next place. So it's twofold, DJ. It's are we approved, and then are we comfortable? Because we never want to go forward and do something if it's going to, even for a little while, not feel right. We want to make sure that we're taking our steps to protect our clients for sure.
And I imagine there's often times where the real estate agent is doing both transactions simultaneously, right? They're helping the client list the home and hopefully selling it as quick as possible, and then also helping them find a new home. So it becomes a lot of work for even an agent to sort of, they're already doing two jobs, and now they'll go, oh gosh, now we have to figure out the lending situation. And this is where somebody like you comes in and says, I will take care of this side of it and work with the agent and the seller and the buyer, of course, to coordinate everything.
Exactly right. Okay. And what is the action step here? As an agent, what's the takeaway? How can I use this podcast and do something that's going to help me get another buyer, close another listing, and actually provide value? So we know as an agent, if we're submitting an offer on a purchase, it's going to look a lot stronger if we don't have a home sale contingency. Okay. We don't need to sell the current home to place an offer on the next home. Once you have to have a home sale contingency, obviously you're not as strong as an offer. And so often the buyer is told by the bank that they go to, yeah, you need to sell your house first.
Right.
Get a second opinion. It's not always the case. Rates have come down so much, and borrowers that thought that they needed to put a big chunk of change down could still qualify with, say, 5 or 10% down, still get rates that are in the twos, and buy that next home, even if they don't have the large chunk of money that they will have when they sell. Once they do sell, they can take that extra money and apply it back to the mortgage and get rid of any mortgage insurance that might be on the loan, and even lower the interest rate because then you'd have a greater equity position.
Yeah, that just makes perfect sense. And I suspect there's that we as real estate professionals probably forget that this idea of somebody who owns a home who's looking to upsize probably doesn't know any of this process and is probably thoroughly confused or just ignorant because they haven't learned about exactly what the steps are. And so this is where an agent, I think another takeaway, for our agents is this is a great opportunity to call everybody who currently owns a home and say, hey, are you looking to upsize, in the next, in the foreseeable future? Because I want to talk to you about what that process looks like. And, let's talk to a lender and figure out how to make it work.
Right, because as an agent, you have this question a lot. How do I actually go forward and write an offer if you don't even have my property listed yet? What
Right.
does that look like? What are the steps? And so you say, well, I was just listening to a podcast, blew my mind. I got some really good information and I wanted to share it with you, because what we can do is go out and get pre-approved with your mortgage person, make sure that we are hitting you for the payment on the current home, and that we can go forward and buy the next place and submit an offer even before we have a buyer for your place. And it helps because it means that there's not that simultaneous day of closing where you need to box up in the morning and move in the afternoon. It gives you some leeway. And I'm telling you, most people would like a little bit of leeway. And if you do it where it's just a few weeks apart, you're not even going to double up on your mortgage payment, which is going to be very beneficial as well. So there's ways to do it. Okay.
You
And
know,
there's ways to do it that make you look good as an agent.
yeah, and I just think what a great opportunity for agents right now, especially since everyone's virtual, everyone's working remote, or not everyone, but a lot of us are. And
Yeah.
what a great opportunity to go on Instagram Live or Facebook Live and bring a lender on, do a 10-minute. What happens if you have a home currently and you want to upsize? How do you actually, what's the process for listing and buying? And how do you get approved in the middle of that? And I would think, boy, that would be such a valuable piece of video that you could easily do, and maybe even get an accountant to talk about, if there's capital gains, how to handle that as well. But that could be a really simple, easy, super informative webinar that can be done really by anybody.
If I'm a realtor right now, I'm actually grabbing my favorite mortgage person and saying, hey, next week, can we do this? I
Yeah.
want to do a video with you together. So all these mortgage guys that are reaching out to you saying, send me your buyers, reach back out to them and say, will you do something for me? Can we get
Yeah.
on a video together so that we can teach and educate, and it will result in additional deals? So that's what we need to do right now. The more that you can give and the more that you can teach and the more that you can be of value, the more that you are going to get additional transactions in 2021.
Well, I couldn't say that better myself, so I won't try. But it would be remiss of me not to ask about what is going on with rates right now.
Yeah.
This is Learn with the Lender, so we just learned a whole lot, but let's learn a little bit more about what's going on in the overall world of lending rates.
So do you remember last year we kept hearing rates were going down, right? Did we hear this?
Yes.
And we heard almost every single week news reports that mortgage rates have never been lower. Yet there were so many mortgage guys that were out there saying, oh, you better hurry up because rates are going to go up. Okay.
Sure.
And they said stuff like, you better hurry up and lock in now because rates are going to go up after the election. After the election, what happened? Rates stayed low. Okay. Then they said, you better hurry up and lock in interest rates now because rates are going to go up after the new year. And here we are after the new year, and where are rates? They're still below 3%. So I'll be here to tell you first that all through 2021, rates are going to stay low. Okay. Do I have a crystal ball? Yes. I do have a crystal ball. The Federal Reserve is keeping rates low. You don't need a crystal ball to know that the Federal Reserve said this. We are not even thinking about raising rates. Okay. And that means they literally have until 2023 or 2024 on long-term debt. Now, federal mortgage rates on a 30-year loan might go up or down by a quarter or a half a percent, but all year long, rates are going to be at or below 3%. We will not see rates go up to 4 or 5% at all this year. We're not expecting to see any real movement until 2023.
Wow. Very, very, very exciting. That is an amazing prediction. And so we'll keep updating, of course, the listeners and viewers of the show every month to see if there are any major fluctuations, of course. But what great news for all of our agents. Again, the action step here is not to memorize where rates are today and what they look like tomorrow and where they were yesterday, but to realize this is an amazing opportunity that the vast majority of clients are not paying attention to because it's not part of their daily life. They're not looking at rates. They might be looking at homes because
Right.
we love looking at Zillow. We have hundreds of millions of people a month doing that, but very few people are heading to bankrate.com and some of these other sites just to look at mortgage rates. They're just thinking about where do they want to live, and they're thinking about their lives and their job, and they're not thinking about rates. So many people that who are listening right now, your clients are probably not all that aware of what's going on right now with rates. Reach out to them, have the conversation. And it's not about, I can get you the lowest rate. It's about, hey, did you know, here's where we are. We're at a historic low. And how's your living situation? Are you thinking about making a change?
People that are selling fear are selling the fact that rates are going to go up. And I simply stated this in a way that was a little controversial to say rates are not going anywhere until 2023. But everybody's saying the opposite in ways where they're trying to convince a buyer to buy. And I want to lead with education,
Yeah,
truth, and honesty. And that's what you should do as an agent. And it's not about hurrying up and pushing somebody into a sale. You're going to get a lot more long-term success if you actually can do the research and help them, because everybody wants to buy, but nobody wants to be sold. Okay, and that's true, right? You want to buy a
absolutely.
house. I know you do, but you don't want to be sold some fear that we better hurry up and buy this one because rates are going up next week. It's just not the case. So I encourage you, if you're an agent, to partner with mortgage people around your area that think the same way that I do, that really want to add value and help your buyers. And it doesn't mean that we're not going to give a little bit of push and motivation, but it's not going to be to scare them. That never works in the long run. Okay, so where are rates, right? That's a long way to say where are they actually at. Rates are funny, okay, because there isn't just one interest rate. When we talk about rates, we're usually talking about either a 30-year fixed rate or a 15-year fixed rate. The 30-year fixed rates this year have hovered somewhere between 2.5% to 2.99%. That's that average. They're below 3% across the board. 15-year fixed rates are even lower than 2.5%. And so for the long haul, we're going to see those rates stay at all-time lows where, DJ, I would have lost a bar bet with you thinking that a fixed rate would be anywhere below 3%.
Incredible.
So rates are going to stay low. We're going to educate our buyers. And before we go, let's just talk quickly about, with COVID and all the different changes that happened last year, what's happening with the different down payment programs. Okay.
Sure.
Okay. Buyers don't need to have 20% down. I'm sure you've heard that, but you'd be surprised how many people still think they need 20% down. If you're a first-time home buyer, one of the best programs that you can do is 3.5% down on a 30-year fixed through FHA. Those FHA rates are in the mid twos, fixed for 30 years. You
Amazing.
just need to occupy the property. It is amazing, right?
Amazing.
And you need to occupy it, and you can really go out and start looking at things that are creative, like 2 to 4 unit properties, which is what I'm going to discuss next time when I'm on how to go buy a home and have a property where there's 2, 3, or 4 units, where the rents completely cover the mortgage and you're living in one of the units completely free.
Hashtag house hacking.
That's it. There's a
Yeah.
lot of opportunities this year. So stay positive, touch your database, and try to find ways to give back and utilize what you learned on today's program.
I remember back in the early 2000s, back when interest only loans and rates were really popular, interest rates were so low. And I remember seeing interest only loans that were based on LIBOR that were in the low twos. And I remember everybody saying, we will never, ever see this again. And those were for interest only loans.
Yeah.
And now we're seeing those kind of rates for traditional fixed loans. I mean, it's absolutely incredible.
The arms are all on the way out. There isn't a benefit to taking a adjustable rate mortgage at a lower
Sure.
rate because those fixed rates are there. So now's the time. We're in a really unique situation. I know a lot of the country's hurting. There's a lot of need for some honest answers, some help, and go out there and be that person that's providing answers and helping. And then, like you always say, share this, right? There's a lot of people that could really use some of the help that we're giving each and every single week on the show.
So if there's any of our listeners and viewers who do not have a relationship with a lender who's providing this kind of value to them, I know that you partner with agents all the time and provide value to help them grow their business, which of course helps you help more buyers with their lending needs. What is the best way someone listening right now could reach out to you to talk about partnership opportunities?
I actually reply to emails. People from this podcast, there are so many people that reach out and say, I heard you on the show. Can I just get 5 or 10 minutes? And I'll take the time to answer and schedule calls just for teaching and education. And it's my email. It's joel@rate.com. So JOEL@rate.com. Try it out. Test me. See if I reply. You'll actually get me making a reply, and we can help you. My company's in all 50 states. I'm licensed in over a quarter of the states personally, so we can reach out and make sure that you guys are taken care of, whether it's me or somebody else. Okay.
Yeah, and the company Joel works for, Guaranteed Rate, is just, if you're not familiar with them, they are an absolute powerhouse. And here in the Chicago area, they are the firm to pay attention to, because they handle so much volume, and they're just an excellent company. So we not only recommend Joel, but of course all of Guaranteed Rate. But for everyone out there who doesn't have a solid relationship with a lender, reach out to Joel. Or if you are listening and you're not an agent and you're a consumer and you're a buyer and you're looking to work with a top loan officer, Joel is absolutely the man to talk to. Shoot him an email, joel@rate.com, and he will get back to you and tell you how he can assist. Joel, thanks once again for being on the show. Every month you come on, you deliver. That's why we love having you on. And everyone listening, you can help support Joel. Reach out to him, send your buyers his way, and also reach out to him for opportunities that you guys can partner up and do some big things in 2021. And also, for everyone listening, help support our show. Two ways to do that: follow us on Facebook. Go to facebook.com/keeping it real pod. So Keeping It Real pod, and hit that like button so you can get notified whenever we do these episodes live, and some of the other articles that we post there. And then also follow us on Facebook. I'm sorry. Follow us on our website. You can go to keepingitrealpod.com. And when you go there for the first time, you'll see a little thing pop up to say, do you want us to notify you each time there is a new episode? And if you just have to push yes, and then every time we publish an episode in your browser, you'll get notified that there's a new episode to check out. So keepingitrealpod.com. Joel, thanks once again. We will see you next time.
It was really good. Thanks again.